Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us in this enlightening session of Winner, the Week of Indonesia, Netherlands Education and Research. I'm very happy to meet you virtually here. My name is Aditya Parama, or you can call me Parama, my second name. I'm a researcher at Institute Teknologi Bandung. It's a genuine pleasure to meet you today and to moderate today's pivotal discussion titled Megacity Logistic in Actions, Advanced Optimizations for Sustainable Urban Delivery. For those of you who already joined winner session tomorrow, this is a continuation of 2 days winner sessions, which today, considering the rapid urbanization and the subsequent logistics challenges in our city that we are facing today, we are getting here to explore innovative and sustainable logistic solutions which embrace both technological and operational advancement, aiming to create resilience and eco-friendly urban environments. For the next around 1.5 hours, we will first have a 20 minutes presentation from each speakers, and we will have Q&A sessions for the participants. A small session after each speakers, and later after all the speaker present their views, I will open another Q&A sessions. By the way, for those who just joined today, this winner session is using the Hopin platform or the StreamYard platform. So if you are not familiar with this platform, you can familiarize yourself to raise questions, to chat, or to mute or unmute your microphones. Actually, it's quite similar with Zoom and also Google Meet, so not much difference, but maybe a new platform for you. Make yourself familiar so you can be more comfortable when joining the sessions online. Oh, thank you, Angela. Also, Angela remind us that since we are on the last session today, we have a lot of times. Nice. We can have more private or more intimate discussions of the sessions. Okay. There are three speakers that will present to you today about their expertise, their topics, and the research. I will introduce one by one and invite them one by one to deliver their speech first. So it's my honor to introduce our esteemed speakers who will bring with them a wealth of knowledge and practical insights into the world of logistic and operation research. As for the first speaker, we have Pak Muhammad Noval. He's an alum of aeronautical and astronautical engineering from Institut Teknologi Bandung, who has proven his mettle in the logistics sector through various leadership roles, from serving as head of operations logistic products at Gojek Indonesia between 2015 and 2021 to his current role as the head of product at Paxel Indonesia, one of the fastest growing logistic companies. So Pak Noval brings to the table practical knowledge of optimizing logistic in digital era. Okay, let me greet Pak Noval first. Okay, Pak Noval, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Parama?
I'm doing well as well. Thank you. And ladies and
Thank you so much
gentlemen,
for having me.
okay, you will have around 25 minutes of presentation, and later we will continue by a mini question and answer sessions. If you're ready, you can start the presentation now. Please, Pak Noval.
Thank you. Wait. So, Mas Parama, so the screen is on from you or from me directly? Okay. Let me just share my screen first. Wait a moment. All right. Okay. So apologies for a technical glitch earlier. So hey everyone, my name is Novel, and currently I'm serving as head of product at Paxel Indonesia. So for anyone who's wondering what is Paxel, so Paxel is an Indonesian logistic tech startup. Since 2017, we believe there's a gap between the customer's expectation and what is currently available in the markets. Well, you can ask anyone in the world regarding what is lacking in the current logistic provider, but we believe that aside from the price and the speed of the delivery itself, the thing that is lacking is certainty, which has been an idea that we maintain high from the very beginning. Along the way, we saw that the idea that we held fit into some certain segments, which is why one of the focus that we have right now is how to build a digital nationwide logistic cold chain fresh and frozen delivery platform. Next, please. Our tagline is kiriman frozen food tetap aman dengan Paxel, which translates into your frozen food delivery stay safe with Paxel. Because we believe that with certainty, there comes also quality factors that previously are not being taken care so seriously by any other logistic players. The combination of those two are the spirits that we always have in our mind from the very beginning. Next, please. So yeah, from the very beginning, we share a similar values with the SMEs and the corporate who wants to scale up their businesses as well. Thus, our goal is how we can empower millions of SMEs and corporate to scale their businesses beyond hyperlocal. What I mean by hyperlocal is something that is below 15 kilometers. This is also translates to also reaching out over 200 million Indonesian consumers nationwide, which also comes to another goal that we have is to give customers the widest and freshest selection of their favorite Indonesian culinary and fresh produce products as fast and as cheap as we could, which is right now we are able to do it at $1.5. Next, please. So yeah, as a derivation from our goals, this translates into two main problems, which is why we gathered here today. Number one is how fast our logistic can be and how easy the users and the potential users to access our platform. That's number one. And then number two is that scalability, because we realize that logistic is a game of efficiency. Thus, building a scalable operation model is a must. So, which is why I believe that this is our achievement in the past 5 years, which we believe that we are the tech-enabled cold chain fulfillment and the last mile platform. That's the first one. And then the second thing, the objective that we always held at the very beginning is we are able to grow the customer's revenue by creating a new market and the distribution channel. The impact also creating a new market and distributions by leveraging resellers of partners outlet, modern market channels, and marketplaces. Aligning with the session, we also managed to also connecting all of our third-party partners while maintaining the same standard as our values, because we believe that in order to be able to offer much more scalable and scalable logistics, we have to work with what we have at the moment, which is resources limited and then the manpower limitation as well. Next, please. We are always considered us as a friend for local SME businesses, and with our capabilities, we're also proud to say that we are able to leverage digital and offline sales through Paxel by growing their revenue 3 times by selling nationwide using our network. Also, we also give 75% additional revenues from outside hyperlocal by partnering with Paxel. So we believe that in order to create a sustainable logistic solution, there has to be some synergy between the players of logistic itself and also the users, which right now we talk about SMEs and the local businesses. Next, please. So we believe that the market for this segment is still huge and underpenetrated. In 2022, with this capability, with our current capability, we are only managed to able to get around less than 5% of the total food delivery markets. Our expectation with the increase of demand shifting the customer expectations, and then the current condition of logistic and distribution, which is really limited and not really efficient, I would say, will helps us to be able to introduce Paxel to much more SMEs and the corporates that requires higher standard delivery service that we always aim at the very beginning. Next, please. Also aligning with our session today to solving megacity logistic problem to be able to provide much more scalable and sustainable logistic solution, the on-demand, the 3PL, and the B2B cold chain distributor players have decided not to do it by themselves. They decide to partner with Paxel to offer door-to-door on-demand nationwide home deliveries with the spirits that we always maintain. Again, with the spirits that we always maintain, we are able to also give end-to-end solution by consolidating the goods itself to cater a high level of delivery standards that we always held. Next, please. So yeah, another result is that we're proud to say that we are the leader in innovation and technology that enables 99% of SLA. Because let's face it, the problem right now with logistic is that we always give a higher promise to the customers, but at the same time, we're working with limited resources, as I mentioned earlier. We do this by investing in the right sectors to support the cold chain facilities that we help, the cold truck to maintain the qualities of the goods itself, and then the real-time temperature, because this is another spirit that Paxel always maintain, is to give the proactive notification to the customers. This we did to make sure that we give the sense of security of the goods itself to our customers. Next, please. I believe that this is the last part of my presentation today. So in the backend side, we also focus in an investment in the right tools with the goals is also to have the most scalable and the highest quality of the delivery available, which is aligned with what we held in our spirits from the very beginning. As I mentioned also earlier, that we try to give the proactive notification to the customers that basically in the backend side, it connects with our transport monitoring systems. So basically, those level out of integration gives us the capability to inform everything to our user, to basically reducing the anxiety of the users itself. Because we believe that with higher level of anxiety, there will be another complaint and then they will not using your services anymore. Again, as a last statement, for the scalability aspect, we always have a projection of capacity before the trip and then actual capacity after the trip, which we maintain as a benchmark for the utilization that can be sold to another 3PL who want to send their good using our network with the highest standards of availability that we can offer to the partner as well. Next, please. Yeah, I think that's all that I have in my presentation. Hopefully this can enlighten all of you guys to understand more about what we're doing in Paxel and what are the spirits that we always maintain high. And yeah, happy to take any question if there's any. Back to you, Asparama.
Okay, thank you very much again for the presentations. I didn't know that um, the market size of food market is huge, and also there's still a huge chunk of cold market or cold chain or cold supply chains market that still haven't touched. And also what Paxel have been done that can ensure 99.999% of on time and efficient deliveries is quite a huge achievement, I said, because um, one of the parcel customer, I sent a parcel for my city. It's called Bandung to Jakarta, separated by 150 kilometers approximately in 1 hours. Well, usually I expected my package should be delivered within 2 days, but Paxel can guarantee in 1 day my recipient will receive the package in one of the benefits. So it's nice to have we combine the technological solutions also as Paxal mentioned before, not only by technology, by considering people as well, by reducing the anxiety so that people would be loyal customers. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'll
I think
I
it's also
open.
aligned with the
Mm,
problem. I believe that this is also one of the biggest research question in the logistics, right? Because every time you ask the customers, Every time you ask the users, every time you ask people regarding want, what do they want in their logistics services, is basically they always question about, hey, I want the fastest and then the cheapest delivery possible. But the problem is the world doesn't work that way, unfortunately, and we have to
Yeah,
find a middle balance between what are the things that the customer actually really needs and the thing that we
mhm.
can offer as a logistic providers. That's a closing statement from me.
Agree. Fast and cheap usually cannot be combined together, so you have to choose either fast or cheap. But by finding a middle ground, we can give a better solution for the audience, for the market. Okay, for the participant, I open Q&A first for Pak Naufal about the megacity logistics, Paxel, what have been doing, or other questions. You can type or you can also open your mic if it's possible. Okay. And while waiting for a question from the audience, I want to ask, in your experience, Pak Noval, how would you see the difference of trends, especially about the megacity logistics between before pandemic and now after the pandemic? How was the trend different?
I see. So, in my experience, so previously users are the customers itself are basically they have much more higher level of patience, I would say, because we believe that previously, oh, okay, next day service is a service, logistic service that basically are, still held highest market, I would say, comparing to the SLAs itself, the derivation of SLAs itself. But right now, it kind of moved towards same day delivery, I would say, because we believe that the accessibility of the product itself is much more segregated into each cities. So which is why the expectation of delivery also shifting towards fastest delivery service possible. So I think that will be a challenge for all of the logistic providers, because at the end of the day, the customer are just want the fastest and cheapest. That's my statement, I think.
Okay. Thank you. The difference between the patient level, maybe before we used to
Yeah,
be more patient. Now our patient is seen as a paper, maybe a tower. Okay, another question from audience. We still have time. You can either type or share, because I'm not really sure whether you can open mic or not, but you can still type the question. Or if you do have comments or suggestions about how Paxol or in general logistic services can give solutions about megacities logistic problems. Okay. If not, another question for me. If
sure.
Paxol of a logistic service in, oh, now the question, let me move to question first from Dr. Albert Schottenberg. He said, can you share some insight on how difficult it is to get reliable real-time informations and to provide reliable ETAs?
That's a really good question, actually, from Albert. So I think in my experience, as I mentioned earlier, the customer expectation is shifting, actually. So I would say in 1 and 2 years, giving customers the estimated time delivery in the level of days, I would say it's still acceptable, but right now it's considered not a really good service that can a logistic provider can give to the customers itself. The difficulties is very on much more different level, I would say, because at the end of the day, we have to work with, specifically in Indonesia, where you cannot predict the traffic anytime. So what we can do is basically with a lot of technologies that are already implemented, let's say for using the Google Maps or using any other routing capabilities that are many third-party vendors are offerings to us, it can it can give us any kind of information regarding the ETA itself that we can give also to customers. And then specifically for Paxel, because we're using the relay model, so basically what we do is that if there is any disturbance towards the delivery process itself, we try to communicate as soon as we can before even the customers complaining to us. So which is why this is what we call the proactive notification. We believe that with those level of communication, the trust that we build to our users, this can basically reducing the anxiety that we give as a logistic provider, that we have between the logistic provider and then the customers itself.
Okay. How about Albert? Does it answer questions? The question already highlighted. Thank you. Proactive notifications using technology tracking, and later we'll also target it to reduce the customer anxiety. But when will my
Correct.
package come? Yeah,
Yeah.
when they're sure,
Yeah.
they will be more satisfied, and then repeat order will be occurred again.
Yeah, I think it's really natural for the customers to always ask, even if you can, for elder people, let's say for example, you must be having an experience where basically you're giving your package to the courier, or you're giving your package to the counter, and then the first thing you ask, aside from the price itself, is when will my package will come, right?
Mm.
So that gives
Okay,
us
okay.
another different of complexities. So which is why before the our spirit is that before the customer question, we give the information beforehand. That's our spirit.
Mhm. Okay, even before asking, they already provide information. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Again, thank you, Pak Noval, for the presentation and also the question and answer sessions. Please still be with us because after this, after all the speakers present, we will have another Q&A among the three presenters. Okay, thank you once again, Pak Noval. Okay, we will proceed to the next speakers, and allow me to introduce Dr. Albert Schottenberg.
Hello.
Okay,
Hi,
hi, Dr.
Parama.
Albert. Okay,
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be here.
Okay. Nice. Also excited to learn about you, Dr. Albert. And he has obtained his Bachelor of Science or Master of Science, which is the cum laude, and PhD in Operation Research from the University of Groningen, the Netherlands. Currently, he is an assistant professor in Industrial Engineering and Innovative Science within the OPAC group at the Eindhoven University of Technology. Dr. Schottenberg has been formulating innovative, efficient new algorithm and methods, making meaningful contribution to emerging logistic applications. Okay, so please give around, join me to welcome Dr. Schottenberg.
Yes, thank you, Parama. Yes, so already thanks for the excellent introduction. Indeed, I'm an assistant professor at the Eindhoven University of Technology, and I'm part in this session because one of my PhD students, Arya Zamal, who is going to talk after me about a very cool research projects we are doing, contacted me, I think, approximately 2 years ago to do his PhD in Eindhoven University. And since then, we are working on logistics problems in the area of Jakarta, or inspired upon on practices, not specifically in the Netherlands, but more worldwide. And in this talk, I like to share something on research in logistics and supply chain management, a bit more from a general context about the things that we do in Eindhoven University of Technology, and how we do that in collaboration with companies, and how we also try to bring our solutions to practice, or at least try to innovate, or let's start innovations in practice. So on this slide, I put this the winner. Oh, sorry, can you maybe go back to the previous slide? Yes, thank you. So I put the overview of winner. I think this is a picture of 2022 there, and I see a lot of things that I think are very relevant for academic research in the Netherlands. And so it's about collaboration, it's about sustainable development goals, and about partnerships. And so in my talk, I will slightly go towards over these themes and say how we do things. So next slide, please. So very shortly, yeah, so I already got the nice introduction, so I don't want to talk about who I am, but what I like to do is I like to describe a little bit what actually operations research is, because sometimes it's not very well known. And so officially, I'm an assistant professor of AI for logistics or transport and mobility. So what we do is we use, in a very broad sense, we look to problems in business. So when things start to move or things need to be ordered or procured, there's typically some decision to be made, and we are looking into how to make these decisions in such a way that we minimize cost, but also maybe minimize environmental impact, so that these business owners can make the right decisions and the world will be a little bit of a better place. So operations research therefore consists of many different fields, and I think some of these fields are much more known to the outside, let's say, world than other fields. And so we see computer science, which is of course very big nowadays. We talk about AI, business analytics, simulation. And linking back to the previous presentation, I heard a lot of elements and processes that needs a lot of knowledge from all these different domains. And operations research is typically the collection of all these different tools and techniques to do something useful for that particular problem. And so I also asked my favorite friend, ChatGPT, to give a definition of operations research, because sometimes it's a bit difficult. And that also came up with the application of scientific techniques to solve problems and make informed decisions. So in the next few slides, I'd like to share with you how we do that here, and then link towards what we do for and with Pexel and this area. Next slide, please. So first of all, I like to set the stage a bit by why I think it's important to let's say think about supply chain management and logistics. And so I searched the internet and I found a few statements. For instance, that supply chains are responsible for 90% of the industry environmental impact, meaning procurement, packing, first mile, last mile, warehousing, transport. So not, let's say, the manufacturing process itself is causing a lot of environmental impact, but more how we organize everything around, how we make sure that products arrive at our doorstep, how we make sure that products are in warehouses, etc. So we also know that the transportation sector is thus responsible for more than 50% of emissions in the US. So, and we also know that electrification, although that will really help in making transportation more sustainable, they're not going to solve anything. Because when I, for instance, think about the Netherlands, where for instance, we have potentially the capability to electrify very fast, we still have particle matter, noise pollution, congestion, and the whole discussion about the livability of cities. And then what I also found interesting, I always found very interesting, is to see that the amount of movements is increasingly is increasing in an insane pace, because global roadway emissions are 70% higher than they were in 2005. So this motivates at least me, and I think many colleagues of mine at the university here, to study how to better organize logistics and supply chain management to, enhance sustainability and at the same time also reduce cost for businesses. Next slide, please. So what I mean with doing operations research and supply chain, so this is typically the steps we go through when we start to collaborate with companies. So first step, we go to these companies and we're going to look what's going on there, and we study the context of the problems, and then we think about a so-called, what we call a problem description. What does that mean? Somehow we try to get to the essence of the problem, and then in step 2, what we then try to do is we use mathematics to make a formal description of this problem. So at Paxel, you talk about the very complex logistics end-to-end chain from a store to customer. So we try to say, okay, so what is now the most relevant part of that? And we try to put it in a mathematical model. So then for a while, in step 3, we will just act as if that model is the complete truth. And so of course we know it's not the complete truth, but for that moment in time, what we try to do is we try to develop methods and algorithms that really solve this simplified representation of the actual real life. And then what is very important is that we try to validate what comes out of the simple model, how that translates basically back towards real life. And then of course, that last step, conclude, advise business owner, see what potential benefits there are. And of course, it's not an sequential processes, so typically we go back and forth through these steps a lot of times. That's it. And next slide, please. So I want to give an example of how we do that. So this is an example of potential research projects we do. So this is inspired about something I'm doing in the Netherlands with a particular company. And so what they do is they basically are responsible for delivering freight in the Netherlands, around 2,000 parcels on a daily basis, collecting and distribution. And they operate in a European network. So they have a lot of hubs, and all these hubs are connected to each other. So we have the circles, these are hubs outside, let's say, the Netherlands. And we have the rectangles, which are hubs inside the Netherlands. And there are all trucks driving in this network on scheduled times. And this company, I think they had a question to us about, yeah, okay, we experience delays and disturbances. Can you help us in optimize what's going on here? So next slide, please. So then we went there and then we say, okay, yeah, so I think it's very important what happens at each of these hubs in the Netherlands. And then what you see is that you get very complex logistics operations, which are like planning, like puzzles, like planning problems, which are about which truck goes to which customer to deliver what parcels with which order, what time do they depart, do we want to cross-dock freight within the Netherlands, yes or no? Do we want to make use of that? And the funny thing is that these pictures that I just show you, they are very general. So this time we look into particular operations happening in the Netherlands. But when I see this picture, I also can already, let's say, map out to a particular extent what happens, for instance, in the previous presentation at Pexel. So the power of mathematics is really that we can make models that are very generally applicable. That's also what we try to focus on. Next slide, please. And so what we then do in these projects, and I think if people in the audience are interested also in experiencing it themselves, we go from challenge, and this time it was the inefficiency of the daily collection and distribution of truckload parcel deliveries, towards a research question about how to optimize daily collection and distribution, towards solutions that are in the terms of that we make advanced algorithms to really plan these operations. And in this case, we also have developed a tool in which the business owners can input tactical parameters, and then we basically can estimate the operational cost attached with that. So that's a bit of give an idea about the type of projects we are doing. And of course, I'm not going to talk about the project that we were doing based on the operations of Paxel, because Arya will talk about it later. But this is just to give a bit of an idea what's all possible. And next slide, please. So then, of course, nowadays everybody is talking about AI, and so I was thinking about how AI is now actually changing things, what we are doing. So optimizing logistics networks, we have been doing that for, I think, for decades. And as computers get more powerful, we get more opportunities to do difficult calculations and to optimize that. So now data is increasingly available, although also sometimes the quality of the data is very important, because if you make decisions on, let's say, not so reliable data, you might actually end up way worse than maybe potentially ignoring that part. But I think what is interesting to see also in terms of collaborations with other sides of the world is that AI, to a particular extent, might lead to less dependency on relatively expensive software packages and licenses, which for startups or smaller logistics companies simply are not affordable. And this AI and neural networks in particular, they have already shown huge promises in prediction tasks. And so predicting future demands, predicting particular elements, but how to integrate it in operations research, so how to use also these AI tools to make better decisions in real life, that's not yet fully known. And that's a very interesting area, and an area that we actively research here in the Eindhoven University. Next slide, please. So what I mean here, so I said, okay, AI brings all kinds of opportunities, and AI, yes, we can inform data, we can learn something about the data, but that doesn't mean particularly that we also directly it can lead to better solutions. Because what is actually the best solution, right? So the best solution in our little mathematical model is a completely different truth than the actual solution in real life. And our optimal solution in our sequence of mathematical models, when we are going to consider that, for instance, travel times are very uncertain, or that there can be happening a lot of disturbances, that's a completely different situation than a very simple prediction task. Let's give an example. So ChatGPT is based on large language models, and what they do on a very high level is they, based on your input, they try to predict the sequence of words that you would like to see, which is a very simple prediction task. Okay, that's very impressive, this technology, extremely impressive. But still, within the bigger scope of, let's say, logistics and supply chain management, only predicting is not enough. So we try to see how we can make use of this technology to also get to better solutions. Next slide, please. So we do that in a kind of industry research collaboration. And what I'd like to mention here is that we have a very interesting research platform in which we collaborate with over 70 companies in the logistics and supply chain sector, which we call the European Supply Chain Forum, where we provide a platform for knowledge, network, and talent. And we do that by workshops, conferences, PhD research, master thesis, and we really try to have impact in practice. And I think that distinguishes Eindhoven University slightly from the other Dutch universities, to really add a lot of value to industry collaboration and making solutions for practical use cases. So anybody in the audience is interested, please visit the website, contact me individually. This is basically the way in which we try to also streamline all the extremely valuable knowledge that is in practice and at university, and then try to jointly innovate and bring good solutions to practice. Next slide, please. So I think this is the last slide. So what I like to end with is by saying, okay, so now I gave a general overview of potential things we do at Eindhoven University. So as an introduction to the next talk, I like to reflect upon what we do and how that relates to optimization in megacities. And I think megacities are the prime example that transport and logistics needs to basically rethink their current operations and mindset. I need to make a disclaimer by this. So what I mean is transport and logistics of how we think, also in the scientific literature, how transport and logistics is operated, because I think the practice in megacities is completely different from the practice specifically in well-organized Netherlands, and how to take the particular uncertainties that are relevant there into account in our models to also dare innovate. That is something that I find super interesting, and we are happy to explore that, and we are doing that actively. But at the same time, I also think megacities are super interesting because it is a high density situation with a lot of people, and that means that new initiatives and startups directly have a huge scale of economy. So if you open something new, let's say in Jakarta area, it's completely different than opening a new tech startup in Eindhoven, which for Dutch sayings is a big city. Yeah? So we have 200,000 people and a bit more, but that's of course internationally just a small village. So the possibility on the one hand of megacities, and the other hand the challenges and the completely different relevant practical factors that have to be modeled, really motivates us to do nice scientific research. In the next talk, Arya will talk about that. So if you have questions about that particular application, you should still wait a bit. And yeah, so that was basically my overview of research and logistics, what we do here at the Eindhoven University. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, then please let me know.
Okay, thank you very Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. So introduction for the research in logistic and supply chain management. Okay, for the audience, if
Yes.
you have questions, please type in the box, as Dr. Robert already mentioned about the supply chain research and also the framework of doing research, as well as the use of AI and also the research collaborations between industries and also the universities. As you mentioned, you have more than 70 partners in industries that can be benefit from the research. So if you have any questions or if you have idea about research, please do not hesitate to type in the comments or chat box. And while waiting for the audience questions, I do have questions, Dr. Albert. As you mentioned
Yes.
about using math that is generally applicable to solve the models, how is the result from one or several businesses can be generalized into industry level or into national levels?
So what I think is important that first of all, I think a lot of companies are making the same decisions. So you should also always look for a particular level of being specific to the problem context. So you should never ignore completely what is going on. But when you found a particular setting that is widely enough used, then yeah, decisions that are, let's say, in the model and that come out of the model are nothing else than so these are variables and these are ones and zeros, etc. So that needs to be translated back to the business context. What I think is important there that you need to sufficiently well think about how you apply your model to case studies. So what I like to do is I like to develop these models, show theoretical results, but then also say, okay, now we go back to the case upon which we inspired on what we did, calibrate the parameters in such a way that then these solutions mean the right thing in the right context. And I think that is a very important thing, which is also one of the most interesting things of my work, I would say, because you always need to find a balance between, yeah, how general do you want to have it versus how applicable does it stay. And so that is, let's say, the trade-off that we are constantly trying to make.
Okay. If it's too general, it wouldn't be applicable to specific problem. But if it's too
Yeah,
specific, it will have to be generalized, right? Yeah, find a common
yeah.
ground. Okay, we are still waiting for the question from the audience. Also, I have another question actually, Albert, and while waiting for
Yeah.
them, it's about the megacity that you mentioned. In your opinion, what do you think most of the megacity in the world, what is the most pressing problems that they encountered, especially about logistics and supply chain in megacities?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's a very interesting question. So when I think about how we organize logistics in the Netherlands, for instance, we try to plan everything. And even already in the Netherlands, I know that so a lot of software is being developed, a lot of algorithms exist, and then when they hand over to, let's say, a planning department, planners still act differently. So already, let's say, in a very clean environment, clean in the sense of well predictable what's going to happen, it's already difficult to let people maybe do what we tell them to do in terms of planning. So I think when you look to mega cities and planning of logistics activities, I think you need to really think about what you want to plan and things that you do not want to plan. So super local delivery, maybe you should just assume in your models it takes a certain amount of time instead of bothering about modeling all the last details. And finding, let's say, that balance, I think when I look to scientific research, I think people often try to stylize their problems a bit too much, and also that's also caused by the practice of academic publishing, that we like to do that and get nice and clean results. But practice is a bit more messy, and how to stylize the messy part of the problem, I would say. That's, I think, one of the big challenges, and also reason for very interesting research.
Yeah, okay. A very complex problem, yeah. And about megacity would be multifaceted problems, especially about the logistics and supply chains, as
Mhm.
Dr. Albert mentioned. Okay, thank you. If no question are being asked yet, I will say thank you first to Dr. Albert for your presentation, also your insights. We will proceed to next speaker
Thank
first.
you very much.
Later in the end, we will have another joint question and answer sessions. Let me invite the last but not least speakers. We have Pak Muhammad Arya Zamal, currently pursues his PhD in the Operations, Planning, Accounting, and Control Group at the Eindhoven University of Technology. Simultaneously, he enlightens young minds as lecturers in industrial engineering at Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia, with a specialization in operation research of logistics in cities. Pak Jamal has pivotal insight into optimizing urban logistic operations. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Pak Arya Zamal.
Okay, thank you, Bano, for doing this introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I think I will share the screen. The committee, can you share it to the audience? Okay, my sound is not clear. So now, is it my sound is clear and sound? Okay, it's better, right? So yeah, I can continue my presentation. So this is my joint collaboration of research with Albert and Tom van Munsel from Eindhoven University of Technology. So we'll talk about the advanced optimization in megacity logistics. So here, like if you, let's say, order something from e-commerce, and then you want to ship your goods, like from, let's say, from your location to, and then like, you know, that the producer also somewhere in Indonesia, then yeah, it needs a lot of things to do, and we want to talk what is behind the scene of that operation. So our paper or our research is inspired by the growing mobility demand. So as we know that currently the mobility is not only because of the people. You see here, let's say the movement of the people by motorcycle and also by the transport, by public transport. But also there's also, the increasing demand of mobility for the goods, for the cargo, and for the parcel as well. So this also supported by the data that 200 million Indonesians are also the e-commerce users. It also showed that we have quite a lot and a big market value, and it means that it will also grow for the next 4 or 5 years. In the operational point of view, we know that today in Indonesia, more than 5 million parcel is flowing on our road. So with this figure, the parcel will increase. So for the next 4 and 5 years, if we not carefully design our logistic and also planning our logistic, it will add more traffic to the road, and also it will emit more pollution to the atmosphere. However, we see that still a challenge and also the opportunity to make all of the operation in logistic more efficient, because we observe some vehicle is maybe travel with less utilized, let's say less utilized. It means that they can only, let's say, pick or deliver some little amount of the parcel, or even they travel with empty cargo after they finish the operation. So here we want to show that our research setting that we see the research in the end-to-end logistic platform point of view that manage the shipments from the merchant to the customer. So for a real example, suppose that we have a local producer from area A. This local producer need to ship the goods to the customer in area B. here is the customer. And then usually the producer, they will ask the logistics service provider to manage all of the shipment. So the logistics service provider, let's say we can take the example Paxtel, will involve all of their logistic facility, such as logistic hub, which situated in the outskirts of the city to connect with another hubs. And then they have transfer facility, which reside inside the city and close to the customer or to the producer. For sure that in each area, they also have the customer, not only the producer, and also the other area, they also have producers, not only about the customer. So it means that the parcel flow between the areas, let's say area A is like Bogor City and area B is like South Jakarta, there will be the interaction between the parcel flows. This problem will become more complex because, as we know, currently the customer, as said by Noval from Paxel, they demand fast service. It means that the customer need the parcel to arrive at their home in the same day or next day. So this become the problem more challenging because now we need to satisfy the service time. So our research scope is we want to plan the inner city distribution for the collection, which means then we collect the parcel from the producer, go to the hub before they transport to another city or to another area, and then we want to distribute the parcel from this hub, which originate from the other area, to the location of the customer. So we consider the parcel flow between two different areas. And then we see the industry current practices. First, they involve two type of echelon or two type of operations. The first operation or the blue line, we call it like the first echelon route. It means that the company will transport the parcel or collect the parcel from the hub to the satellite using a bigger vehicle. And then they continue the operation using the second echelon operation, use the motorbike or the smaller vehicle. So why they use the motorbike? Because usually there is the city limitation. So only smaller vehicle, they can go to the customer location, or maybe practical limitation, such as the road is really small, or maybe to avoid the traffic jam. Then here, the first strategy that we observe from the company is that they separate the distribution and the collections. It means that every company or every vehicle, they do a dedicated task. So they can do distribution or the collection separately. And for the second strategy that we observe from the company is they try to combine the operation in one echelon level. It means that let's say in the motorbike operation, they try to combine the pickup and the delivery. But in the first echelon, they still separate it. So this implementation, because of the complexity, is not that much. It means that the company can just deploy the vehicle with a dedicated task. But it needs more transportation asset, and each transportation asset may be not fully utilized. For example, after we do delivery from 4 to 5, the company or maybe the vehicle, they're going back to the satellite without any parcel, or they deliver with the empty vehicle. But let's see in the strategy 2, if they, let's say, do this trip, they will come back to the satellite with parcel 1 and 2 because they do the collection here. And our approach is we want to integrate the collection and the distribution in all level of the echelon. So in the second echelon or the motorbike operation, they do the pickup and delivery. And for the smaller or the bigger vehicle, they do also the pickup and also the delivery. So the complexity will be in the time synchronization. We should know which parcel will arrive to the satellite, and then what time the vehicle should arrive to the satellite and depart again to another logistic facilities. So this is the complexity in our problem. So we try to solve this problem using the methodology that maybe for the technical people, we call this methodology as the math heuristics. So this is the combination between the meta heuristic search, we call it adaptive large neighborhood search, with the mixed integer programming. Or maybe Albert already talked about what kind of mathematical programming or mathematical model that we implement to the problem so we can, let's say, solve the problem in optimized way. So this is our methodology. So for the non-technical people, simply our methodology is outperformed several benchmarks, and we have the competitive result with the latest large-scale heuristic algorithm. And then, using this methodology, we try to solve the case study in Jakarta metropolitan area. In this case study, we try to compare our algorithm with the industry standard strategy, which is strategy 1 and strategy 2 that we already discussed. And then we try to implement it in 5 hubs in Jakarta. We use the industry scale data, which is in one day, there are 1,000 until 2,000 locations should be satisfied. And the last, we also utilize 6 until 9 transfer location in each hub. Here is our finding. So you can see in the right side of the slide, this is the typical result of our algorithm. We know how many vehicles which we need to deploy. And then we also see the plan of our, let's say, logistical planning. So our findings is first, our algorithm can reduce the cost by 17% compared to industry standard strategy. It is because our algorithm can use fewer vehicles. So for specific, we use like 20% fewer vehicles. And then we also see that in operational point of view, our vehicle can carry more parcels. It means that it's more utilized. So this efficiency opportunity can be, let's say, can be answered by at least our algorithm in this kind of setting. So yeah, that's it for my presentation. And if there's any question, you can just let me know, or maybe you can contact me if you want to see the detail of our research and also for our result. Thank you, and I give it back to Parama.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Arya, for the explanation and sharing about your current research. It's interesting because, yeah, logistics is also quite difficult problem to solve in Jakarta or capitals, but whether we later maybe can be reduced when we move the capital to IKN, but that's another story. Okay, for the audience, if you have any questions, any discussions, or any suggestions about Arya's current research, please type in the box, or you can also use comment. And while waiting for the audience questions, also wondering, Arya, could you share us when you are doing the research about building the methodology, collecting data, what are the problems that you encountered, and how can you solve it when doing research?
So first, if you talk about the operation research kind of the problem, we usually inspired by the company, let's say, company practice. So in my case, so yeah, we having the good connection with the company, so we can talk and also we can see what is the current challenge of the company will become the first step. So in my case, yeah, I really, let's say, really lucky that I can get a really good connection with Paxel, so Paxel can show what is their, let's say, business problem, and also after they see the business problem, we try also delineates what is our research scope that I mentioned in the talks. And then afterwards, first we build the model based on the delineation that we already, let's say, discuss, and we already try to see, and also we see it from the literature, what kind of research is already there, and then like what kind of extension that we need to add to the research. And then afterwards, the data usually in operation research is really nice if we want to go deeper to the case study. If you don't have a data, usually there is some kind of the benchmark instance from the previous literature that we can use to check our algorithm. And then the most important is like when we implement our mathematical model and also our algorithm, we need to make sure that our let's say our assumption is also related with the company and also is close with the real case. That's it.
Okay, thank you for sharing. It's nice to have good connections with the company or with
Yeah.
the stakeholders that hold the data, and you can get better access to them. Okay, still we open the opportunities for people who want to interact or who wants to ask questions. You can type in the comments box. We're also wondering, Arya.
Yeah.
So I would assume that your research almost finished, right?
So for this research, I mean, this is kind of the very long projects. So this is the first step for our project. So the first step of our project, which I already show you, is kind of finished, and we already submit our result to one of international journal. So we still wait for the review, and then like afterwards we will move to let's say to extend our current research. So if you
Okay.
can see from this talk that we still only optimize the inner city distribution and the collection. And for the next step, we want to see that how if we connect both of the, let's say the area in the megacity. Let's say if you want to send the goods like from Bogor to Bandung, then we also need to consider what else will happen in Bandung to Bogor. So that's the connection that will, let's say, extend our research.
Okay. Yeah. Because speaking about megacity, we also have to address the
Yeah.
satellite city that supports megacity.
Yes.
So the
Yeah.
logistics will be more complex as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you're doing well with your research and you can finish your PhD on time and make a great contribution for Indonesia logistics area. Hopefully.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the participants. Questions, or when I look at the previous chat, also there are some people that introduce themselves and they express their interest in doing research and research collaboration. You can also contact each other, connect via LinkedIn or other platforms so that you can make the collaboration happen. Okay, if there's no other questions, before we end, I would like to invite all the speakers to give the closing statement regarding about their proposing their solutions about the problem of mega cities that we encountered, logistic and operation research. First, from Pak Novel first, I'd like to invite you to give closing statement for this session.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see the the synchronization between what is being done on the research side and then the application on the actual condition itself, right? Because at the end of the day, we as a business stakeholders, we really requires all of the inputs, we really requires all of the methodology, latest technology that we are going to use later on in the future. Because at the end of the day, at the end of it, we try to solve customers' problem at the end, right? So building that sort of connection, I think that will be really helpful for us in the future. So later on in the future, we can have all of the decision making process can be backed with the data and the models that can support also the to the business itself, basically. I think that really, really,
Okay.
really helpful.
Thank you for the closing statement, Pak Novel. So the business decision making or decision based will be supported through the data or the finding of the research from the academician, and it's good to make collaboration. I also couldn't agree more with that. And second, for Dr. Alberts, your closing statement.
Yeah, so what I think is super interesting is to see that where we are, let's say, in science with regards to solving logistics problems, and let's say, where practice is also nowadays. I see huge opportunities for integrating and seeing how we can also help bring these innovations to very cost-efficient solutions. So I think what we did is only a first step. I think also in future projects, we are thinking about how to, let's say, what are the relevant factors to take further into account to basically build upon the things that we now have. So, and thank you for hosting me, Parama.
Okay, also thank you for the question. On this first step, it is a baby step to achieve a better goals to find a solution of the logistic and also supply chain problems. Thank you. And also from Paria Zama, your closing statement.
Yeah, thank you, Parama. So I think this is the really nice initiative. At least let's say from Indonesian side, from Paxel, who already has a business challenge, and also from the Netherlands, which is in this case represented by TUI, who gives also the opportunity, like for me as well, to learn to be a researcher, and also to learn to, let's say, to see how to solve the really complex problem using the current techniques and also the advanced optimization techniques. So I think if we see this theme of the and also the topic for this conference is really relevant, that the knowledge sharing is really important to bring all of the, let's say, the advanced knowledge, let's say, from the developed country to the developing one, which Indonesia now also has a really good opportunity, and also really, let's say, has a quite big potential to grow in the future. Then also we need this advancement, and also we need the knowledge from, I mean, like whichever the part of the one of them, of course. So I think that's I need to highlight.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for the closing statements. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have embarked on a remarkable journey today through the intricate world of megacity logistics in actions and explored advanced optimization for sustainable urban delivery. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Pak Muhammad Noval, Dr. Albert Schurtenberg, also Pak Muhammad Arya Zamal. Thank you once again for sharing your invaluable insight and knowledge, enabling us to peer into the complex and yet fascinating domain of urban logistic accessibility. Also, a heartfelt thank you for all participants for contributing to the success of these sessions with our engagement. Also, these sessions will path towards fostering international collaboration and knowledge exchange between Indonesia and the Netherlands. So, again, I would say appreciate for all you all. Thank you, and wishing you all continued success in your endeavor and hoping to cross path again in our future events. Please stay safe and take care. Thank you and goodbye.